You guys are here because you want to know about food, sex, and cravings, right? How they're all connected and self-destructive habits that could correlate to all of those different types of behaviors. And here's how. So, I have some notes here. I'll be looking at them throughout this just because my brain is like literally all over the place all the time. So I have to definitely write down everything that I want to talk about before filming. So, understanding cravings and self-destructive behavior. When we think about basic human needs, like food, shelter, water, love, warmth, and touch. These are the necessities we were first introduced to as infants, and we will continue to require satisfaction in all of those areas for the rest of our lives. When these become thrown off or out of balance, we start acting from a place of scarcity. And we start, consciously or subconsciously, looking for satisfaction in whatever we are lacking in these needs, oftentimes through our bodies, right? So when we lack love, warmth in our lives, we can begin to turn to or seeking out interactions and relationships that aren't meant for us, that are harmful to us. We can seek out sex when we're just really touch-starved. We just want to be touched. Alcohol or drugs, an attempt to fill any of those voids, to numb, to not fully address and look at those needs in our lives that we've been pushing aside for whatever reason. And we can turn to food. Food can be a coping mechanism when we are lacking any of these basic necessities, or just something that we need in our lives. And interestingly enough, the same part of the brain that lights up when we have sex, that feel-good part, is the same part of the brain that lights up when we have these addictive types of feel-good foods. So ice cream, chocolate, when we're feeling bad or we're feeling down, we don't run to the fridge and grab some celery or some cauliflower, We go to those feel-good foods for a reason. And it's because the same part of the brain is activated, responds when we consume those foods. We also use a lot of the same senses for both in sex, or when we consume these highly addictive foods such as chocolate. We use touch, sense of smell, sight, taste. So what is that part of the brain called? What is actually happening in our brains when we get that hit? Both with sex and with food, those two, relating to this, dopamine, that reward center of the brain, is released, lights up, and it tells us this is what we needed. This is what we wanted. We're being rewarded for this. And we don't really get into what we actually really need. When we turn to things like food or sex, those can be a little bit more complex in deciphering what needs in our life are missing, or what do we really want in our lives. Because we could be turning to sex when we really want to have a meaningful relationship. We could be turning to food when we don't have enough friendship in our lives. We don't have enough of a social life, an interaction with other humans, which is, right now, that's probably been a big thing for some people. And I really feel for you guys, especially as somebody who is very outgoing. I need that human interaction with other people. When realizing this, I think it's important to take a second and be more mindful of these situations whenever they present themselves to us, whenever we catch ourselves experiencing this behavior. And like I always tell you guys, to approach without judgment for yourself. Don't judge yourself as to, oh my God, I'm eating all this chocolate. What does this mean? My life is a mess. I mean, even if you need to do that, maybe write about it for a little bit, let it out. But in exploring that, we need to remember that these quick fixes, these hits, these external and material forms are not necessarily the deeper answer. So how do we begin to understand these things whenever they come up? Out of place cravings and turning to things like food and sex. How can we begin to understand what is really missing from our lives, what we really need? I don't have the answer because everybody is individual. Everybody is unique in their why they are turning to these things. The most helpful insight that I can give you guys is just to ask yourself why. Why? And start digging. What do I really need? And ask yourself that question. What do I need? What in my life is missing that I need? Is it love? Is it friendship? Is it more creativity, more joy? Ask yourself that question and maybe journal about it, or just explore that thought process. Explore that thought train. Fully hop on the thought train and see where it takes you. These things can only be understood when we have the self-awareness to unpack what it is we truly need. I'm Kamala Celeste, holistic health practitioner and functional trainer. If you found this video helpful, please share it with somebody who might need to see it. And if you have any questions for me on this topic or any topic relating to holistic health, please leave them in the comments below and I would love to answer them for you. Until the next one, bye.